So today I want to talk about planning and how important planning and having a plan for your day, your week, your month, your life is, and being able to achieve your goals, man. And you got to start small with every habit. You really need to start small. You don't want to dive all in, jump too deep in water, and then you can't swim. You decide to go back to the shallow end, you know what I mean? So you have to start small. I think the best way to start is just planning your day, at least the day prior, thinking about the next day. So like, for example, today, I would either at the end of my day today or really early tomorrow morning when I first wake up, I would plan my day, which I do and I have been doing. Thankfully, a lot of these plans and processes are so kind of fluid now. Like, for example, my daily eating habits, I pretty much eat the same thing every day, dude. I have like 5 food groups: milk, meat, cheese, fruit, honey. That's pretty much it. Every now and then I'll have a little quote unquote cheat meal, but again, even then my cheat meals aren't friggin' 2 quarter pounders from McDonald's and a French fry and a Coca-Cola. Like, that is not a cheat meal for me. A cheat meal for me is like, my wife and I went to an Italian restaurant this weekend and I had a chicken piccata, and it was a locally owned Italian restaurant who I know I can trust aren't using the worst ingredients in the world, but it's a cheat meal nonetheless. It's not exactly where I wanted it to be. It was a lot more carbs than I would have liked, but doing that once a week isn't really going to make or break your total fitness, especially if you're staying consistent with your workouts and really giving it your all when you go to the gym. But anyway, back to planning. So there are processes you can put in place that make planning a lot easier. Like I said, I pretty much eat only 5 things. So if I just make sure my fridge is stocked on those 5 things, then I'm pretty well set up for the week. I don't really have to think about it a whole lot. The only thing that I really do have to think about is like dinner. Like, usually the morning of, I'll think about dinner. So I wake up and I'll tell my wife, hey, what are we gonna eat for dinner tonight? 99% of the time it's steak, but sometimes she'll feel like making something else, like some pasta or whatever. But the point is I get that figured out early on in the day, so I know, okay, we're eating steak tonight. I'm going to pull out steaks this morning, so they're thought out for tonight. My work lunches, usually I do those the day prior. So like last night, I pretty much eat hamburger patties for every lunch, unless I have a bunch of leftovers from something else or some kind of event we had or party. So more often than not, it's 2 hamburger patties with cheese. Done. Easy peasy. You bring some milk, some fruit to go with it, and that's my lunch right there. So I'll do that the night before. I grill my patties, get them ready. Sometimes I'll do 2 days in advance. I'll make 4 patties, so I have 2 for one day, 2 for the next day. But without those processes in place, you're gonna fall behind pretty quickly. Have I not been planning my lunches and prepping my food at least a day in advance, then I would be more tempted and honestly more likely to go to get something, to eat on my lunch, like go out to eat, which at the end of the day isn't really going to be very healthy for me, and it's not going to stay on point with my diet and my goals. So I make that really important habit. Breakfast, that's Greek yogurt for me, Greek yogurt with honey every morning. Easy peasy. On the weekends, I might do some eggs and bacon, just to quote unquote splurge, which eggs and bacon are pretty much on track with my diet too. It's just a lot more work than scooping some yogurt out of a bowl. So I usually save that for the weekend when I can, take some time to make bacon and eggs and hang out with my family. We can all enjoy it together. But that being said, the night before, I make sure I have yogurt. If I don't have yogurt for the next morning, I go to the grocery store, go get some more yogurt. Usually try and buy about a week's worth of yogurt, so I'll get like 7 tubs of yogurt at a time. So that way I'm stocked up for a whole week. I have enough yogurt for a week, and yes, I do eat pretty much a whole tub of Greek yogurt in the morning. gives me roughly 80-90 grams of protein, which is close to half of my day's worth of protein right there, which is super important. I mean, especially if you're trying to put on muscle, you're trying to put on size, you need to be eating more protein than you would think you need to be eating. So most people recommend at least 1 gram of protein per pound. I shoot for closer to like 1.5. So right now I'm about 180. So ideally I'm going to be eating somewhere from like 250 to 270 grams of protein per day, especially because I am pretty low on carbs. I don't eat a whole lot of carbs. That being said, speaking of going back to that, guys, protein is the most important and effective macronutrient you can have in your diet. Your body has the ability to turn protein into not carbs, but something like carbs. I want to say some kind of glucose or glycogen, which your body can use in place of carbohydrates. So if you are lacking in any macro, you can lack in fat and carbs if you eat enough protein, because your body can make do with the protein and turn that into what it needs for fuel that it would be normally getting from carbs and or fat. So little side note, but anyway, big theme of today, big topic is just planning. Right now, I do not necessarily have year-long plans for my life. My monthly plans are kind of loose. I definitely have daily and weekly plans. Those are really important. I'll plan, what I'm going to do that weekend, like a week in advance, or at least a couple days in advance. So like this weekend, we're going on a trip. We're going to go to Pinnacles National Park, which is not necessarily a vacation. We're going to go camping, do a lot of hiking. So we will still be getting our workouts in. We are going to be working hard because camping with a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old is nonstop. No breaks, no room for error, no nothing, because those kids are in the dirt, dirty the whole time, getting into stuff, eating things that they're not supposed to be eating. So as much as I'd like to call it a vacation, it's not so much a vacation so much as it's going to be a great outdoor experience for us, especially over this Labor Day weekend. I have that extra Monday off, so be a lot of fun to get out and do something in nature, because that's where my family really enjoys spending time, is in the outdoors. And getting away from the hustle and bustle of the city life is always a good thing, in my opinion, to kind of refresh, restart, get in touch with God really at the end of the day, and just tune out, spend some time with your family. Not tune out from your life, but tune out from a lot of things that aren't really important. So I might not have as many updates this weekend. It's going to be hard because there's not going to be a lot of signal, but I've heard that they have Wi-Fi, so I'm going to try and get the Wi-Fi, because I do have some homework I need to work on, and I hope to post these updates as well. But yeah, if there's one thing that you guys can learn today, or learn from me today, I hope that it is the ability to plan. And like I said, you don't need to start big. I mean, even just thinking about your day, even just thinking about tomorrow the night beforehand, it's a huge step, dude. I mean, I know so many people that just roll out of bed when their alarm goes off, shower, get ready for work as fast as possible, get out the door. They're just kind of on autopilot, they aren't doing things intentionally. They aren't, and I was that person too. I mean, I've been that person for so long, and I've realized how detrimental that can be for you trying to serve God's purpose and God's, what God wants for you to do in this life, because you need to be regimented. You need to have a strict lifestyle. You need to follow meal plans, eat what's good for you, do the work that He's called you to do. And if you're not taking time to plan, you're just rolling with the punches and going with the flow, it's going to be a lot harder to fulfill that mission, because you need to be a machine. You need to be the vessel that the Lord has created you to be, to serve the purpose that He wants you to serve. So anyway, guys, God bless. Have a great day.